All right, welcome to another week of Conqueror. I am Anti and joined today by Crims. Ultravox couldn't be here today, so, well,
Yeah.
you got me.
We got a replacement, but definitely, equal parts there for Anti and Ultravox. So we're not missing out. But Anti, you missed out on the first 2 weeks here of the
That I
Conqueror League.
did.
And so I'm going to be filling you in here. Look, it sounds like you're already familiar with Dorado Gaming, of course. And look, this is a usually high finishing team, typically making it to the playoffs, and they're going to be up against Cosmos Wings. This time they've changed their name to Cosmos Lantern here for CL. And we see another veteran on the Rift. It's going to be Elsa from Frozen. Has been playing many, many years. Has headed many teams. The captain. Also finalist appearances in many leagues. And so this is a battle of the veterans. Masuf, K-Peps here as well. And yeah, we'll just see whose experience is going to be leading them to victory today.
Yeah, I mean, that's the glory of duking it out between some of the top 4 seeds, right? I love to see what the leagues really have to offer for themselves here. And we already see a Mordekaiser ban on the side of Dorado. So I actually really like this early Mordekaiser ban. Not only could it be a target ban, it also opens up the Skarner pick, right? Because Skarner, top lane, ridiculous champion, has so many things that works well into. One of the very few champions it doesn't work well into is the Mordekaiser. So by taking it off, chances are Red side was already going to be banning Skarner, but now if you don't, you might be throwing.
Yeah, the Mordekaiser pick is so good, and it's a tanks in general. Skarner being a tank here. Yeah, Jinx has been seeing a lot of play recently, so that's going to be the final ban. Caitlyn, despite the nerfs, is a ban as well here. I like the Ivor ban, especially if you want to play some kind of engaged jungler. And we're not opening with Skarner. We are going to be opening with a Hui pick here. This is a champion that is fairly strong in the meta. You can scale, but of course that early game is not something to be looking forward to.
Especially blind, but, Hui at the very least does have the ability to be flex, so it's not like you're completely and totally locked into that mid lane, but Hui Syndra should not be a surprise if we do end up seeing it. Now, the fact that we didn't see the Skarner on Blue 1 kind of tells me that we're likely not going to be seeing Skarner in this game in general, as Masuf did not opt to immediately pick that one up. I feel like every top laner in competitive nowadays is just jumping on that Skarner if they are one of those Skarner players. In the meantime, Udyr likely going to be going towards that top side, but once again, could also just be that standard jungle pick. I love flex picks. I love seeing them get more love here, so it's very interesting to see what these teams have cooking up for us.
Yeah, I'm seeing already a interesting draft being on display here. The Udyr has been slept on. I think this is a very strong jungle pick, as well as Ashe and Varus being taken away. No one's going to get the combo here. They're going to be playing against each other as it should be. Don't ever let someone get both of these champions here. The Viego pick here is kind of just showing that they want to go for this one-shot combo with the Syndra. And I'm seeing tanks leaving the Rift here. Malphite's going to be removed, and then the tank counters of Darius and Camille also being removed. So this is a top lane banned city going on right now.
Yeah. So we are getting word that the draft isn't quite going to be accurate, but at the very least, there's going to be, it's going to be pretty interesting, right? When you have so much time behind these players, right? As you said, also from Frozen, a name that we've seen time and time again. Dorado, one of those other teams that we've seen come back into these leagues time and time again.
Yeah, I mean, these champions have been playing. They've been playing the game for so long. The pools are so big. They can play anything at this point here. But I think that we are going to be having a full redraft on display. I think that some of the bans didn't line up there. Some of the picks were, a bit questionable. But overall, I'm still going to be excited for this. a little bit of a fake tease, I guess, that we pulled on
Yeah,
everyone
yeah.
here. We're sorry about it, but maybe you guys were losing your minds the whole time while the draft was going.
Sometimes that's just how the cookie crumbles. But I will say, so what are the crazy picks we want to be looking at this patch? We've already mentioned the Skarner, right?
Yeah.
Jinx, Caitlyn, two very good champions also on this patch. Crims, of the other champions that would be the OPs, the ones that people are really looking to be picking up, whether they be comfort picks, whether they be meta picks, what are some of those champions that we might be seeing here?
It's definitely like the Talia is a champion
Mm,
that is not seen in that last draft here, but so strong on the Rift mid lane and or jungle, as well as something like Brand, the all lane flex now brand that everyone keeps talking about. I like playing Brand in the jungle, so hopefully those changes don't knock him out of that lane there. But yeah, so
yeah.
the AP junglers are really coming into fold. Something I don't want to see in Italy. I'm just gonna be full on, very apparent. No Italy for anyone here today. You will receive the Crims stamp of disapproval if you lock in Italy, and I will hate you forever. If that's what you want, go for it.
I mean, Nidalee, I gotta say, right, is inversely proportional for how fun the champion is to how unbelievable to the level of ease that to actually make the champion work in competitive. Like the more fun the champion is, the harder it is to make it work. And Nidalee is so unbelievably hard to make work. Even the top of top tier teams in pro play can't seem to make this champion work because she's so difficult, right? Unless your name is
Yeah.
Canyon, unless your name is Peanut, I really don't want to be seeing your Nidalee.
Well, they also have very good jungle mid synergy. So if you have
Yeah.
Chovy, maybe you can play a bit of Nidalee here. Also, talk about that mid lane. AD mid laners right now are absolutely just extreme prio picks. Got the
Oh yeah.
Corki, Tristana, and now we're starting to see other picks like the Ezreal come through. So if you
Yeah.
could play these champions in the mid lane, I want to start seeing them being picked up. They're going to get nerfed
Hmm.
pretty quickly, so pick them up while the wins are still here.
Yeah, I'm honestly interested in that Ezreal mid pick. The last time we saw Ezreal being a relevant mid lane pick, it was Runeglaive, right? It's been a while since we've seen Ezreal really relevant in that mid lane, but AD Ezreal just going to be very, very consistent, nothing too crazy, and also so many escapes, so many abilities to just stay alive. So now that we've got the draft coming back into play, we're just going to have to see whether or not we do see some of those mages in the jungle, some of those AD mid laners, right? It's all about rounding out those compositions.
Yeah. Okay. So the Aatrox
Okay.
takeaway here. And now we're getting a little bit of a different flavor. There's the Tristana. Okay. Elsa's been playing some ADs in the mid lane. We'll see what's going on here. Xin is being first picked on Dorado's side. And yeah, K-Paps has been very good on champions like that. Interested to see what the idea is behind this here as we get a Poppy who has seen some pro play as well. And if you can get through that early game with this champion, with the strong ganking prowess, as well as those team fights, is such a strong pick.
Yeah, I mean, Poppy also an available flex pick towards that bot lane. And speaking of flex picks, we've got the Ziggs on lock here. So, absolute monster this champion is, just always able to push out the lane, always able to get tower damage in, and paired with the Nautilus, paired with the Leona, right, can essentially always land the skill shots. It becomes very, very difficult to actually deal with these champions. In the meantime, we've got the Xin Zhao, which I do say, point and click CC does open up the Talia ability for a 2v2 if you so do choose it in the mid lane, especially now that you don't have that magic damage jungler. You need that magic damage somewhere, but as we said, we've already got Ziggs on the table.
Yeah, the Ziggs is a flex pick, so could be doing that. Could be matching that Tristana in that push power, especially in the early game with Ziggs having 3 AoE abilities. Very unique champion there. I think that I kind of prefer the Leona matchup with the Ziggs just because it gives you more damage compared to the Nautilus, but Nautilus lockdown is just so solid throughout the game. And I do like the Udyr, not the Udyr pick, the Volibear pick into the Xin, because that is just such a good matchup for Volibear. You could block a lot
Oh
of the
yeah.
CC coming out from Xin, plus you're a better brawler early. Guess what Xin likes to do? Brawl early. So the Volibear ends up being nice. As
Ooh.
we see in the bot lane, it's gonna be the Twitch here. And this is a champion that the items have shaken up quite a bit, and I'm very interested in seeing what build they're going to be going with.
Yeah, and in the end, going to be rounding things out with the tried, the true, the tested Cassante in that top lane. So you're going to be getting some wet noodle fights up in that top lane. I'm sure Direct Cam has a thing or two to say about that one, but we're going to have to see how things do pan out on the Rift itself, as Game 1 is a huge momentum decider for the entire set.
All right. Veterans on the field to splash Elsa from Frozen as they are going up against Dorado Gaming here. And fan favorites, well-known, massive K-Peps going to be heading that squad on Dorado's side there. 5-point start from both teams. No one wants to start up anything early. And that Poppy that you're talking about, oh, there we go. I
Whoa,
love
baby.
it. Looks nice as we get a nice little graphic as we see here. And that Poppy going down into the bot lane, just like you're saying, going to be flex picked into the Nautilus. I'm not expecting Mickey X level of Poppy gameplay here, but I think it is a good matchup.
Yeah, I mean, definitely a solid matchup. Get a lot of damage off in those traits, especially with the Halo Blades, right? Halo Blades Poppy means that your all-ins actually turn into a very large threat, even with a Varus, right? It's all about those quick, swift trades where all of a sudden you're getting slammed into a wall, so much percent health damage, and Poppy just gets to walk out for free after getting 3 autos. It's just rough, to say the least. In the meantime, I'm kind of interested in seeing how this Twitch develops, as Twitch, one of those champions that can kind of just pick and choose whatever it is that he wants as a build. But as the game progresses, I would not be surprised to see more of those crit items come into play.
Yeah, I think the one that gives a bleed, I forget the name of that one, is something I think works very well on Twitch, because it's going to proc on your ultimate across the whole team, and that is going to be a lot of damage if you get a crit with the ultimate there. And in the mid lane, we have the Ziggs versus Tristana, as we highlighted. Going to be going Comet here, trying to just poke out that Trist. We'll see how that goes. Typically, Tristana does win this matchup early, despite the fact that Ziggs has farther range, just because her push power is just so excellent, and she has the all-in any point in time.
I mean, it's all about threatening that all in, but right now, with so much poke from the OG Kush, it's going to be difficult to see whether or not Elsa from Frozen can actually get an in there, because the moment that you do find yourself directly in the Ziggs face, you need to make sure that you can at least survive the Ziggs burst damage.
Yeah, the Ziggs burst damage is a factor, and you don't want to get satcheled into the enemy jungler, as for both mid laners there, the jungle is going to heavily affect their matchup. Volibear visiting mid and or Xin early could change the tide of that entirely here. As nice little dodge by Dibble. And if we look up on the top side, we should be seeing an early advantage from Jaquavis into Masuf here, but it is going to be the Ornn that scales, and we'll see if they can utilize this for early grub takes.
Yep. I mean, early prio is definitely going to be fairly helpful when you're looking towards those grubs, and when you've got a Tristana on the table, grubs mean quite a bit. Extra tower damage is extra tower damage is extra tower damage, right? There's no way how to get around it. Towers are the way how you win the game, so whether or not you actually want to play around the dragon is a question, but we can see Volibear here looking for something great.
Yeah, it looks like a lane gank. Trying to sneak that through. Didn't get spotted on any wards or minions. Unfortunately, the timing here is that they have to wait for this wave to die. They're letting it stack, and this could give them extra damage, as well as wasting jungle time. The top camp just respawning, and so this is giving to Splash the motive to back right here, despite the fact that that's probably gank range right there, but they decided overall not worth it.
Yeah, I mean, good stuff from the volley just to make sure it's like, hey, you know what, maybe we get something happening, but at the very least you don't show on the map, you don't lose too much tempo, and going to not overcommit to that one. In the meantime, mid lane slowly going in favor of the Ziggs here, as Kush just is continually pushing in these waves with seemingly little threat of contest. Seems like Elsa from Frozen needs to find a way how to really threaten this Ziggs if they're going to actually make use of the counter pick, so to say.
Yeah. If you know where the jungle is or you have some kind of safety, just jump straight in on Ziggs. Just especially if you're both full HP, that's a winning trade for you. OG Kush has no mana right now, and unfortunately though Elsa did use TP already, so if you take a losing trade right now, you'll be in an even worse position.
Yeah, definitely not a position you want to find yourself in. In the meantime, K-Pap's just going to pick up this Chemtech Drake. You know, nothing too crazy there. Solid sneak, making use of that lane priority. And Chemtech Drake, not necessarily the craziest for this team here. It's not like Dorado's got a bunch of healing and shielding, but at the very least, going to be helping out with the Shin Zhao duels into the Volibear with that extra tenacity at lower health.
Gonna need to scale that one up though, as no one's really bought armor items just yet. Surprised that there's not been a single kill based on both of these comps here. We have some aggressive champions on the Rift, and still no one has made an attempt just yet.
Yeah, honestly, it's surprising that not even just a lack of kills, a lack of trading between these teams. I would not be surprised to see Masuf or, you know, one of the AD carries just pick up a call at this point, because this game seems like we're just waiting for the long haul, just waiting for that late game. Both of these teams have very strong scaling compositions, so right now we might be seeing a little bit of action here.
It's looking like the prio from top lane here could be challenged, but it would be a big potential throw for Dorado to go for this one here. Just don't have the prio. Waves are coming in now as they're being caught by Jaquavis here. Not going to lose much for this attempt, and in the end, it is an extended dragon for Grub's trade. Both teams utilizing their strong side at the moment. Although, you know, you don't want your Varus to be weak siding against the Twitch right now. You really want that Varus to get a nice lead, stay out ahead, and for them to be picking up these stacking dragons. They end up getting the grubs, but if they had to choose, I think they'd be preferring the dragon stacking right about now.
Yeah, I mean, dragon stacking can turn into a huge potential for just constant late game scaling, because the moment you take away some of those dragons, there's nothing that you can do to really get those back, right? A little bit of extra tower damage is nice, but, you know, stacks towards that eventual soul could be an entire game changer. Meanwhile, Kush just constantly pushing down this mid lane, just constantly getting solid poke here and there, you know, a little bit of tower damage, and nothing too crazy. As honestly, Crims, usually when the two of us are casting together, teams, so to say, tend to hate analysis, just tend to always be fighting, always trying to make something happen. This is quite the opposite, right? It's just going to be a little bit of trades here and there, nothing too crazy. Let's just slow push this wave, let's bounce these minions, and let's not actually do anything until we get to that late game.
Yeah, but I mean, I would say that, you know, we shouldn't be able to analyze this game here. Is finally to Splash. Going to come in for a gank. Going to be charging up the Q here. Stun does land. Elsa from Frozen is in. Unfortunately, flashing the ultimate. Double ult's going to be blown, plus the flash from Elsa. And it ends up being our first blood here. I felt like that could have happened 5 minutes ago, but we're getting it right now. And now the action's starting to heat up in this river.
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely going to agree with you as we get the dredge line coming on into the Poppy, but with the ultimate says goodbye. Who cares about action? Let's try to make sure that nothing gets returned on this bot side. As Solo and Hyperfocus going to be able to zone out the Varus.
Yeah, so that mid lane kill, quite perfectly timed actually, from Cosmo's Lantern because the TP being burned and they also burned the flash means there is no defensive resources for the Ziggs. Elsa can hop to their content and trade onto Ziggs here, as that is a pretty important kill. They have to make up lost time though, because for this mid lane, Elsa is far behind in CS and hasn't really made their way onto the turret, cracking a plate or two, which is kind of the expected you should have from this matchup here. So I'd like to see more ganks, more pressure, and really start to press the advantage they have acquired in this mid lane.
Definitely going to be agreeing with you there, Krems. I know you noted earlier that the first blood could have happened 5 minutes ago, but I'd actually argue that that first blood should have happened 5 minutes ago, right? Volibear as a champion, yes, you can duel into the Xin Zhao. Yes, you can scale up to the point where you're just a big, beefy frontliner for your team, but you've already got a Cassante for that. So much of Volibear's power is in that early game, is in that mid game, where you can just kind of start to run people down in the early game, force some summoners, get the tower dives in. And we haven't seen that ultimate used on a tower just yet here. We've seen it used a single time towards that one mid lane gank. And the question is, are we going to be seeing any sort of action before the 15-minute mark?
I don't think anyone really has dominant lane control at the moment, as Hamza here with the Varus starting to get the Q leveled up, allowing this free push here against the Twitch of Dibble. And it looks like they're aiming for this dragon here. The on-hit build coming out from Hamza. I'm going to say not a fan. I don't think this build is good. I think the Blade of the Rinking nerf is huge.
Meanwhile, in this top side, we're going to see whether or not the Cassante can come on out of this, but instead is very cut, clear, and dry that Xin Zhao gank is going to work out just fine. Small lead for Ornn in the top lane could lead into a huge boon once we start getting toward those later stages of the game here. In the meantime, it is going to be the classic Grubs Dragon trade, but with no backup for K-Peps, it wouldn't be too surprising to see Volibear come on in, try to make something happen in return.
Yeah, they have. Zin's not very great at doing the grubs, and now we'll be finding to splash in their face. Not going to be getting the steal away. Is playing very safe. Stun now going to land. K-Pep's going to use the ultimate, trying to 1v1 this bear, but it is going to happen. The shield doesn't come in time, and then it promptly gets exploded here. Masuf and OG Kush waiting for Elsa to just walk up, step too far, and that's the case. Nice buffer over the wall, though. Gets them out of danger. Is going to take a bomb on their way out, but overall, it is going to be the 4 grubs for CL and Dorado, as well as Cosmo's Lantern, going to lose a jungler.
Yeah, I mean, jungler for jungler trade there, working out just fine. As I got to note, OG Kush actually getting the earlier roam there was not something I anticipated, as the Ziggs did not quite have the inside track, but still going to be able to find a way to help out their jungler just in time. And in the meantime, top lane, once again, back to these wet noodle fights. Nothing too crazy on the trades, but this Ziggs is just continually worked out dividends for the side of Dorado. OG Kush is playing this matchup really well, playing the lane state really well, and playing the rotations exceedingly well.
Yeah, they've both gained advantages through their mid lane here, as Elsa, 2 kills up, has the Kraken as well. Blade of the Rune King being completed, both AD carries on the bot side here. So that's a nice spike for either team. Dragons get divvied up now 1-1. And this is just the slowest game I've seen in quite a long time, Anti.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of those games where you just put it on right before bed and say, like, yeah, you know what? I can just take a nap, maybe come back in the mid game when we finally have things starting to get picked up here. In the meantime, Dragon up in 2 minutes and 50 seconds means I would be surprised to see much of any actual fighting until that point. But in the meantime, Hamza and Hyperfocus kind of going a little toe-to-toe here, trying to make something happen. K-Peps in the corner, seeing if there's an opportunity, but once again decides to back off.
Yeah, both junglers kind of looking at bot lane with interest, but just nothing's really causing them to bite. As I mean, this is kind of a nice, easy scale up for Dibble on this Twitch here. You haven't really been under too much pressure, haven't really given up any plates, just been scaling there in that bottom side. And yeah, the gold's dead even. Not a good look for the bot side of CL right now because they are the ones who are pressured to find an advantage, find a weakness, and start dominating this bot lane. And it feels like with the plates down, that's a huge missed opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, so much of the ability from these mid laners, for example, from these bot laners, is their ability to not just push the lane, but also just take out so much damage on the towers. So without these tower plates, could be a little bit rough to see whether or not we can actually get some of those leads on these mids here. But in the meantime, the one objective on the map not going to be contested. Once again, just going to be a handoff here. And the question is, are we going to be seeing a trade to the dragon? I'd hope not. I think that this is where we're going to start to see some of the action come on through.
Definitely waiting for that. 1 minute from that dragon. Huge point for someone to get a lead in that dragon stacking. And of course, a win team fight as well. It looks like Massive kind of just 2 levels away from getting the first ornament on a teammate. And definitely going to be sending that over. Oh, I guess there's really no good item right now for Massive to actually upgrade. So I guess it have to be the Ziggs right after this Leandri's completion. But other than that, I don't see a good item.
Yeah, I mean, not too much available here, but here we go. Right before Dragon, try to make something happen. We've got to splash on the Volibear here, going to look for another lane gank, and we might have it happen. Dibble walking up, being a little bit cautious to the wave here, and Venom's going to just barely scare off the Twitch.
Oh, they're not walking up. I mean, yeah, maybe that was Venom's here, but they're burning the midnight oil in mid lane. Something has to happen. A play has to be made. They had a Rift Herald crash into their turret. OJ Kush TP coming in.
All right, TP coming in here from both top laners. The flash away from the chains, and all of a sudden, K-Pep's in a lot of trouble. Going to get ulted over the wall. Jaquavis does get the kill, but here comes Dibble. Going to be able to spray and pray. You get one, not quite going to be able to get the second until the flash comes in from Asuf. And just like that, we finally have a little bit of action on the map. Should be able to pop the tower, and Splash in a little bit of trouble. Gonna be able to walk away, but slowed for days and no way out here. Dorado comes back alive, ready and waiting after a good night's sleep that was that early game.
Yeah, they're woken up now here as they are going to be claiming this dragon, and they kind of just slammed that team fight. It should have been a lot closer, but they expose themselves to the flank of Dibble on this Twitch and just get annihilated by both their range damage. And while they got the first kill on the Massuf, the damage under the carries is what mattered there, and really what won the team fight for Dorado. And they're going to be picking up the just rewards for that one. And judging on how the first part of this game went, we're not going to see anything happen for 5 minutes here, Anti.
Well, maybe, because the Baron is going to be coming up soon, but as we can see, this is exactly what started this all. That gank
nice combo
in the mid lane where Elsa had to back off, and all of a sudden, you've got your mid laner, which is most of your damage, not able to hit. Like, right in the back line, K-Pep's going to be getting zeroed out, but OG Kush constantly able to throw out these skill shots.
Oh,
Dibble
beautiful.
constantly able to auto. Also from Frozen has gotten maybe 3 autos off in this fight and just barely gets zeroed out by the flash W from Ornn in the end.
Yeah, that was just beautifully engaged. Nice flank, good hook coming out from Hyper Focus, and then Dibble free firing on the entire team. Lots of value. Now he's going to increase that AoE with the build right there. So waiting on that third item as well. And unfortunately, doesn't pick up a kill. That would have been nice to boost the economy of Dorado. But, you know, they'll just have to stick with what they got.
I mean, at the very least, you got some assists. You got the tower gold as the bot lane, mid lane swap comes on in here. I gotta say, Elsa from Frozen on this Tristana, definitely threatening, but in that last fight, did not get the chance to really do too much.
Yeah, the team was bot side and opportunity opened up mid lane. Dorado took it. Nice chunk onto Elsa. I don't know if Elsa had TP. Probably should have backed if the case. Otherwise, not much you can do there. K-Peps looking for our wraparound flank. Isn't going to get it, but they do spot this Xin in the jungle here. No one's really going to be going for Dragon. Don't think anyone's strong enough with just a 2k gold lead. But some nice baits, vision control could be the key.
Yeah, meanwhile, Dibble looking to try to make something happen. The Hex Flash in, Hyperfocus does land the Dredge line, but once again, the disengage from Venom's not going to work out this time.
Oh!
But here comes the arrow from downtown with the teleport as well, and no extra follow-up, but it's going to be a trade for support for 80 carry. And just like that, Dorado not going to be the one coming on top this time.
That is a textbook example of why sometimes you just hit frontline and you don't go for the dive. All right, they want to get this Cassante. Jaqueva says, nice try again. But this is that's a perfect textbook example of why you don't just hit the 80 carry for all those solo queue enthusiasts out there. It exposes you to getting damage on yourself. And instead of Dibble taking the free kill onto Venoms, wanted to go for that extra one in Hamza. Gets punished for it there. Does pick up the kill on Poppy, but also giving that kill right over. And so this game, despite everything happening, is still quite even. Not that there was much happening anyway. I know we keep going on about this anti, but come on, this is a Dorado game. Where is the fight to the death?
Where's your fire? Where is your anger, right? Where is your rage? We need a little bit more bloodthirst in the water here, but instead all that bloodthirst is just for the minions, is for the towers, which, as we're all concerned, honestly, it works out, right? Play target win condition. The scaling from the side of Dorado is unbelievably strong here. In the meantime, CL just constantly going to be fine with the pushing on the side lanes, right? You've got so much threat from the Tristana, so much threat from the Volibear, always there for a dive potential. So in the meantime, pushing out the side lanes, not going to be the worst, but you're slowly fighting a losing battle unless you can get on top of these carries.
Yeah, definitely need to work on these turrets here. I'm going to start pressing up mid lane. And yeah, I don't think they really have access. Full defense coming out here. 5-man squad. Looks like an ARAM about to be set in stone here. Dragon coming up in 20 seconds. Full control of the river for the side of CL. But they've given up mid wave.
Yeah, but with Dragon coming up this soon, I'd be very surprised to not see a fight around this one. We've got all 5 members available. Venoms on that front line. Hyperfocus looking for a hook. Not going to be firing it off just yet, though.
All right, full. Just retreat. They didn't want to challenge the vision into the river, and now they have to challenge it in this little sliver of a choke point here. Masuf perfectly blocking it off right now.
Jaquavis on that front line trying to make something happen, and Dragon is already started up for the side of Dorado here. Meanwhile, the Mega Inferno Bomb going in. The huge knockup from Masuf. Dredge line as well to follow up here. And K-Pep's in the back line, taking up so much
nice
damage,
ultimate.
but so much free hitting from Dibble, from OG Kush, and one frontliner traded for the rest of the team just getting to do their job. Dorado coming out on top once again.
Yeah, Dorado, for many years now, have been quite a good team for team fights and scaling. Late game, they tend to do very well, and so they're utilizing that advantage right here. They don't want to press the issue, but when it comes to these team fights, they've won them handedly back-to-back, and it looks like CL really can't match them in the team fight department. The comp is not exactly as good as Dorado's here, but I just think they're team fighting way better. TP's coming in. They're going for a round 2.
Right, side. Splash looking for the steal. There's no jungler available for Dorado just yet. And the stun directly onto Ziggs, and all of a sudden, Dorado gonna be losing the dragon. Beautiful re-engage from CL, knowing that without K-Peps, there's just no real way how to secure that dragon, no real way how to disengage, as Masuf is just one player, right? You know, you just cannot rely on the Ornn alone to peel off so much dive.
Yeah, they kind of got surrounded there because they were trying to do the dragon. Not enough time, surprisingly. K-Peps trying to make their way in. Venom's on the side, very threatening. Makes this super risky. Try to dive in. Stun gonna land as well as a chain of corruption. K-Peps popping the ultimate, trying to stay alive. Or ultimate on 4. The damage coming through. Dibble absolutely slicing through them. Is not going to survive, though. Jaquavis finally brings down the rat. As Elsa going to hit these plants on the way out. Certain doom may be around the corner, but a nice dodge gives them an opportunity. And the fire seeds giving them the opportunity to get out. Oh, but the shorter route is always going to be the way to get someone who is faster than you. And it looks like that's a full team wipe. I think that was a 4v5 if I am correct there, as OG Kush was not there. And it looks like this time they're not going to overextend into attempting the Baron. Instead, they're going to go for a reset. But that was a nice clutch to the game. They made a huge mistake, but they recovered very well on the side of Dorado.
Yeah, I mean, it's just the trades back and forth from both of these teams. You get one objective, you try to go for a little bit more, the other team punishes you for overstepping, and I gotta say, Masuf's ultimate in that fight was incredible. This all starts off with K-Peps looking for an angle in. Walks up a little bit, lands the W onto Hamza, but Venoms and Hamza just focus directly onto the Xin Zhao. Crescent guard up, a lot of damage mitigated, and all of a sudden Masuf, pop goes the Ornn Horn across 4 people. Dibble free hitting the entire time. Look at that AoE damage. In the very end, Cassante does manage to pick up the Twitch, but it just does not go in favor of CL here, as Dorado just in the right position. Man, those Embers just barely not letting Elsa get picked up until the very, very end there. Can you imagine if Elsa walked out on purely Ember move speed?
That would have been quite crazy. But Masuf there to end that. As I'm surprised how much healing Jaquavis did on the Cassante there. The Omnivamp with the ultimate really kept him alive a lot longer than you would expect. Hyper focus. Damage's not there though, so this CC doesn't matter for much. As they're going to go ahead, make their way to defend top lane. Looks like they're making a play for this top turret on the side of Dorado here. They've left mid lane open. K-Peps is trying to hold it down, but may be in trouble. Nothing in the mid lane there. Don't see an ultimate blown. Just doesn't look like the opportunity presented itself. Top lane turret is down. Dorado slowly but surely growing this lead. And nothing to write home about. But, I mean, based off the fact that they've won pretty much all the team fights, I would say good sign for them at winning this game.
Yeah, I definitely agree there, Crims. And I also got to know, right? So OG Kush has gone for a slightly atypical Ziggs build, where a lot of the times you'd be seeing the Seraphs, right, for dealing with so much dive from the side of CL. Meanwhile, OG Kush understands that they trust their frontliners so much. If you just go for raw damage on raw damage and stand in the right position, it doesn't matter how much dive the enemy team has, because they're going to be dealing with K-Peps, with Masuf, with Hyperfocus, and it's been working out so well. Look at these fights. Dibble and Kush have been able to free hit for so much of the time. Meanwhile, on the side of CL, the backline divers are having trouble getting onto these carries. Most of the time, it's solely Jaquavis who's able to get onto a carry at the very end after they burned everything onto Splash, onto Elsa. But right now, the real question is, how do you get rid of those frontliners? And I think all of it falls onto Venoms.
Unfortunately, they really need their Cassante to be on a flank, not the front line, as this is a huge engage. We have the Dreadnought coming
Upcharge.
through here, and now they're just fighting in this choke. Dibble free-firing the whole time, hitting that blast cone with the ultimate as well, and it looks like CL had no chance in hell at winning this fight. Dibble not caught up in the 1v1. Only one member left to splash, and I don't think this is any defense that you can go for. This is going to be the 5th dragon being taken by Dorado, and I'm assuming they're going to run straight over to Baron and try to get that one as well.
Yeah, this time around, we're late enough in the game that I think the Baron directly after the dragon is far from an overstep, and instead just the icing on the cake for winning that team fight here. Dorado have not lost a member in quite a while, and in the meantime just always going for these fights around the objectives, never going for anything outside of that, just playing towards their win condition, playing towards that late game scaling, and it's been paying out dividends. Splash now trapped in the pit, could be in trouble here, going unstoppable, but nothing's going to stop these players from going into the graveyard here. Flash is over as well. Jaquavis not going to be able to die. Never mind, not going to be able to get out, as the ulti from Zeg is just going to finalize that play.
Yeah, nice little Baron take there. And oh my god, Dibble does so much damage. K-Pep's over the wall, and now they're just slaughtering the remnants of CL in that last fight. This is a very tanky turret. I don't recommend that you guys. Oh, the satchel charge comes through. I didn't realize. I thought that was less HP requirement for that, but at about a third, it gets that down with the Baron here. They're just gonna come charging on through. Does the Poppy ultimate land? Hits on 2. So this is going to be a little bit of delay. Dibble's still up, though. They're going to need to stop this Twitch. Absolutely wrecking ball on these turrets. Venoms has an angle. Doesn't want to go in. And now your jungler is dead. Completely blown up. And this is a tanky Poppy, but tankiness is not going to win the game here, as that's going to be a first win to Dorado Gaming after a clean Baron take.
Yeah, and that game was methodical, cold, calculated. That is what I call the definition of a strangle of a game, right? Where no matter what it is that CL tried to do, Dorado would just very quietly, calmly come out on top each time. Sometimes it would be a trade of objectives, but sometimes it would just be a trade of kills. But more often than not, it was Dorado just coming out on top in very, not even small margins, right? A lot of these were fairly clean fights.
Yeah, very clean fights. It was super solid. Most of the time, they weren't even attacking Dibble and just letting the Twitch free fire there. It just didn't have the flanks on lock. They couldn't fight front to back. They couldn't win it that style. Dorado was way stronger, and so the team fights were just a complete blowout there. And I have to say, for the side of CL, I want a complete redrawing, remapping of your strategy versus Dorado here. I really don't think you can match up in the team fights. Have to play the early game, have to make aggressive plays. Don't let them 5v5 you, because right now I don't think you're ready to handle Dorado in the team fights.
Well, as we said, game one, a pretty important game for deciding the momentum of the match and the overall feel of the set here. So don't go anywhere, because game number 2 is just around the corner. right, welcome back everyone in game number 2 of Dorado Game Iota versus the Cosmos Lanterns. And I gotta say, Crims, game number 1 was certainly something.
Well, I'm not trying to find you, Anti. You didn't say much there. I was expecting you'd have more of an opinion. But yeah, I mean, look, from Dorado's side, especially the carries, that game looked pretty easy. You're just sitting back, shooting off, throwing some bombs, shooting off your crossbow. Didn't have much to do, just damage the straight front line. You're just chilling, okay? Of course, all the action happening in the front made it really easy for those guys in the back line. But yeah, it just made those team fights super clean from Dorado. And for Cosmos Lantern, I don't even know if you can win team fights that look that easy.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a difficulty with not just the comp, but also the way how people are playing it out. This might be the summer split, but it feels like a few people might be on summer vacation with how that match was going, as you got to make something happen in that backline, right? These carries from Dorado were never, ever at risk. The few times that they were was Jaquavis, ulting into that backline, finally going to be able to get on top of someone. But it was almost always as the fight was ending, right? Cassante solo in a backline, sure, definitely a little bit spooky when you've got 20 kills under your belt, but this is not that. It is a very slow, very calm, very methodical game. Nothing too much going on, and I really want to see some changes for Cosmos here. Now, whether or not we see changes in the draft itself is one question, but what I really need to see are changes in playstyle, right? If you do see another one of those team fight heavy compositions from Dorado, you have to make something happen, whether that be in the team fight, in the early game. It cannot just be, hey, what if we only fight around objectives and nothing else ever?
Yeah, I think that a lot of the problems were not enough action early from the side of CL, and we were saying it mid-game, like, hey, where are you guys trying to get your advantage? Because it doesn't look like you're going anywhere. You're going to get outscaled. You have champions that have to press the issue early, and no issues were pressed, no buttons were pressed. It just seemed like everyone was asleep at the wheel here, as the Zin ban going to be going through from Dorado's side, interesting enough, as the Zig's going to be removed away on the opposite side. It just felt a little bit too easy just to coast there on the Zig's gameplay. Jinx coming through for the heavy team fight. Looks like CL going to be going for a team fight comp already. They could pivot later, but that's what it looks like right now.
Now, the Maokai going to be picked up pretty early on by Dorado, means that at the very least, you're going to be having quite a bit of disengage, and whether or not the King of Disengage goes into the jungle or goes into support, both work just fine, especially with a Jhin, who honestly, Jhin is one of those champions that is so flexible with so many different kinds of supports. As long as you're not pairing it with the Yuumi, you should be okay. But there's the Mordekaiser that we saw banned first off by Dorado in that last game.
Yeah, Mordekaiser pick comes through. Very good against Maokai, at least, as they're going to be picking their support. It is the Nautilus. The counter picks in support here, you could go with something like the Morgana that does pair with the Jhin. Can't go Braum because Jhin Braum's a painful lane. So they go for something that is tankier than the Nautilus and the Leona, and does pair well with the Jhin. Your ultimates are very good, coordinated together, as looks like far-ranging champions like Xerath being removed here. Poke comp wouldn't be very good into a Leona Jhin Maokai, so I don't think the Xerath ban is warranted.
Yeah, maybe not here, but it looks at the very least like it's going to be focused towards these mid lane mages, these mid lane magic damage champions, as Dorado say, hey, Elsa from Frozen does a ton of work when they're on a pick that they can actually make things happen with. So what if we just force them back onto this Tristana, force them back onto these physical damage mid laners, which we haven't really seen the same kind of success from that we might have seen on other champions. Meanwhile, the Luck's going to come on through here, and while some fun Lux Gen shenanigans would be fun, we've already got the Leona, so we know where that Lux is going.
All right, we have the Jace coming through. It is a poke champion. I don't really think you want to play something like the Jace into this comp here. You're not going to get much time to poke as they hit full Rs all across the board to start up a team fight. Zac going to be paired up as well. And so it looks like they have themselves quite a beefy front line with 2 AD backliners here. Fiora comes out into the Mordekaiser. She can win this matchup. Definitely takes a beating early. I think Fiora works out here. Massive coming out with the signature champ. Is it going to work overall? I don't know. I feel like Dorado's comp is kind of hard to pull off with the Fiora. Could have been a lot easier if they picked a different champion.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, a lot of Dorado's composition here kind of falls apart with the Fiora pick. We're really looking for one of those frontline beefy tanks to try to dissuade more of the team coming on in here, but this is a lot of trust being shown off towards Masoot's Fiora, right? The Fiora Mordekaiser 1v1 is huge for this game, and it is where these junglers need to be focusing. I would not be surprised to see both K-Peps and to Splash just pathing towards that top side, going for that 2v2 early and trying to make something happen, trying to get some kind of early fighting going between these two top laners. And I kind of note, the press the attack from Masoot here does mean we're going to be seeing a lot less long trades from the Fiora, but right now Jaquavis is looking to continue with the 5-point. Nothing too crazy just yet.
Yep, 5-point from both teams here as K-Peps backs for an early scanner. And it looks like the Leonji's first. Maokai is going to come through here with that first jungle item being purchased. And for the side of Dorado, a front-to-back team fight might not be the easiest thing for them. Any of their frontliners can be peeled off by the Mordekaiser quite quickly, as well as the fact that they don't have the best AD carry for team fights. This is looking like way more of a pick-style comp. Try to catch them unawares, try to catch them out of position, and then use that to leverage a man advantage around objectives here. So a lot harder to pull off, and if Dorado does show that they can play this style, it is something that they can just keep in their pocketbook for plays, and would really send a message to the rest of this group here that they are multifaceted. On the other side, for Cosmos Lanterns here, yeah, you can play team fights a lot more effectively with the Jinx and the Zac. You can peel off with the Mordekaiser, and you have the Nautilus for engage. However, not the best peel on their side for this Jinx, so it's going to really be on Hamza to play safely here and find damage where they can.
Yeah, meanwhile, bot lane, nothing too crazy going on, just a little bit of early trades here and there. The hook's not coming through from Venoms just yet, but I do got to note, right, Crims, these two teams, relatively decent compositions. They just have one or two pieces that feel a little bit out of place here. I'm not 100% certain who would come out on top as far as the draft is concerned, but I do know one thing that would allow us to know who should have the winning side, and that would be ProComps.
Yes, shout out to our sponsor ProComps here. They have basically just drafting well made for you here. They have it live while you're doing live drafting service, as well as tons of stats, as well as matchups here, as it looks like I might be interrupted with a solo kill. No, okay, ProComp's ad read will continue here as they have over 200,000 people using their active service, tons of downloads through the Overwolf platform, and best of all, Anti, guess what? It's completely free. You don't have to spend a penny. And right now they're saying Dorado's comp here, 2% better.
Like music to my wallet. But also, speaking of which, no flash, no teleport on Jaquavis is like music to K-Pep's ears. With the Maokai was pathing towards that top side. Wave not in the best position to make anything happen just yet. But I gotta say, ProComps, hella cool. And the first blood going to the splash. Whoa, what happened?
Yeah, we're gonna have to see. We're gonna have to take a revisit here down on the bot side, but it looks like they picked up a kill on the Hyper Focus, who also doesn't have a flash. Able to expend that. Venom's flash engaging, I'm going to assume here. With the Ignite, K-Pop's trying to set up something similar. Jaquavis has no flash. This seems like an all but dead Mordekaiser. The Q just waiting for that one to hit. Oh wait, where's the Q? Where's the Q? Where's the Maokai smash?
Yeah, I mean, K-Pax actually did fire off the Q, but it was after getting grasped by the E, so it completely whiffs there, and that goes from a free kill to no trade whatsoever. Meanwhile, Hyper Focus getting grabbed by to splash here, and that's exactly what you want to see from the Zac. This early game fighting, these early game ganks. And all of a sudden, Cosmos coming alive this time around here. And remember, 2% edge from Procomps might be an edge, but it's only 2%. You gotta still play towards your win conditions properly, and Cosmos are very much doing so.
Yeah, I think a 2% variable can be made up by the players here. Venoms making a roam up to the top side. The riposte going to deny that engage here. Gets the wave in, which is the most important thing. And that is going to save Jaquavis from further punishment. Meanwhile, though, because of this topside roam, we got a dragon.
Yeah, Dragon coming on in here, but there is the inside track from the Jace, so this could turn into a very spooky 3v3 here.
Oh, they're peeling off.
The only one missing was Venoms. They're going to be peeling off here, and Dibble going to return to this bot lane wave as every AD carry just wants more and more of that farm.
Yeah, that's a great call. I think they did things in reverse order here, Anti. They should have pushed the lanes first with their free prio because of Venom's up on the top side. And then they should have made their attempt at the dragon. But instead, they jumped the gun. They realized their mistake, though, and they aren't going to get punished as hard. This is a nice zone. It looks like they're fully aware of this Zac in the AO. And they're just trying to walk up. I don't think there's enough levels on Slingshot to punish that just yet. Where's the freeze, though? Hamza, I'm waiting for you to freeze this lane. There it is.
Oh,
freeze
nice.
being conducted.
There we go. That's always a nice thing to see when laners see a free opportunity to get a lead and actually do take it, right? Wave management, very, very important. In the meantime, K-Pep's going to say, you know what? Nothing's going on. Let's try to make something happen. Get those grubs down, and Splash, you've been down here for a while. The big question is whether or not the Zac can really pull it off here, but yeah, that's a lot of time spent towards this bot side from the Zac, and it's not really amounting to much just yet.
Yeah, Zac still has this top side uncleared at the moment. So that's camp time going down. The drain is going to trade that for a dragon. But yeah, waiting around so long that K-Peps is able to do the grubs. And if K-Peps walks into this jungle, sees this blue, goes, yeah, thank you. Gets the double clear takeaway. That's going to be a nice advantage in the jungle for the Maokai, which is something you typically don't see.
Yeah, it's not like Zac isn't a champion that can really, like, so Zac as a champion can't really fight too much in the early game against some of these dueling junglers, but Maokai isn't really a dueling jungler, right? He just kind of scales up, he looks for ganks, he looks for ways how to help disengage fights, but this is not really something that we're used to seeing too much, and oh no, Jaquavis, don't back like this. Okay, all right, good.
Looks like a bit of a bait, though. Doesn't have TP. Certainly doesn't want to be here. That's the double takeaway from K-Paps in the jungle. Interesting enough, goes for the first item, boots. So this is not going to be the fastest clearing Maokai, as you can see. 900 gold's definitely good enough to buy the jungle clearing item. And so I would say questionable pickup there, as the faster jungle clear would have helped you, especially on those grubs, Anti, that kind of took a bit too long.
Yeah, but in the meantime, to Splash,
all the freeze
locks into the top side, realizes my jungle's gone, is hella pissed, and all of a sudden just gonna be walking in for a lane gank, try to make something happen. Masuf, you gotta hold on to that riposte here. And right now, just going to look to get this wave all the way in. No way how to deny it from the Fiora. So seems like Jaquavis just pulling the Zac up for not too much benefit.
Yeah, bot side again, uncleared. This might be the opportunity. Slingshot channeled. Masuf with some kind of third eye says, I sense a disturbance in the top lane. And just keeps this trade short there. Doesn't go for the all-in and ends up being the right decision. So I think that because of this bot side vision here, you can see the Raptors untaken. Masuf is just playing the vision game super well. Says, yeah, Zac's not on Raptors. Where else could Zac be? Oh, that's right, in my lane. However, might not have accounted for the super long stay up in the top side, and that is a kill.
Yeah, I mean, when you think the enemy jungler is going to be around topside, that tends to come from the idea of, oh, well, this is around the amount of time that they would be spending to be in this area. This is completely reasonable. This is what we expect. This is what we see. And this is not what we've been seeing from Splash. Splash has been spending an ungodly amount of time in these side lanes, in these lane brushes, trying to make something happen. And we said we needed something to happen in the early game last time around. And Splash is very much playing to make this a reality here. But here we go. Quavis is just going to get a little bit of trading onto Masuf, gets the E, and all of a sudden, no riposte seen at all. We are going to be going down and no way how to get on out.
Yeah, couldn't use it to stun up to Splash and Jaquavis here, as this Zac is severely behind at the cost of some ganks, but you know, just really staying around too long. It looks like K-Peps, though, I don't think we were able to see if they cleared out the bottom side, if they stole away Raptors in red. That would be huge. It looks like the Splash has it, so never mind. K-Peps wasn't able to get down there, but could have been a huge opportunity for K-Peps to punish, as they're starting up the grubs here. Looks like we have a bit of grouping. The bot lane of CL is coming up, so this will be a mismatch in the manpower department here. Grub's going to be taken. You know, a bit of a split trip here, as it looks like CL might be setting themselves up for a win.
Yeah, Hyperfocus gonna get hit by the dredge line here, locked up, and going to be taken down very, very soon. Leona just going to survive a little bit longer, but Hamza now getting excited. AoE autos again and again. The double kill coming on in, and CL coming out on top this time around.
Yeah, that is nicely done. They rotate up their bot lane and they start a fight. Is going to cost them some plates, but guess what? Jhin is not the best turret taker in the world. Is definitely someone that you can trade and won't give away too many plates. You're still going to get some to this AD carry here, as that's looking like the third plate going down. Interested to see the gold in the spot side for Dibble. But, I mean, you pick up 2 kills, and look at this. Hamza is ahead in gold overall, and I would say worth.
Yeah, I mean, in the end, going to say hashtag worth to that one, as Hyperfocus and Venoms, once again, just going to see each other in the jungle, trying to make something happen, but nothing too crazy happening just yet. As we got to note, Dibble very much on a comfort pick. Jhin as a champion, I honestly like a lot in this game in general here, but Dorado right now, what they need more than comfort is some kind of way how to slow down the pace of the game, how to really get back into the swing of things, so that way they can feel a little bit comfortable themselves.
Yeah, comfort here. When your back's against the wall, though, easier said than done. And Ty, as first item, comes out for Masuf in the top side, and that is a huge item buy for lane sustainability on this Fiora the Hydra, as well as mid laners acquiring theirs. Hamza with the first item, Kraken, on the bot lane, so that's going to be a nice all-in potential around a dragon in the next dragon fight for this Jinx.
Yeah, in the meantime, I gotta say, I kind of really hate the Bramble Vest pickup from Jaquavis here. So, like,
yeah.
Bramble Vest against Fiora is okay at the least, right? whenever it is that you're picking up Bramble Vest, or whenever it is that you're picking up healing reduction into these healing champions, you have to ask yourself, am I losing these fights because they're out healing me? And 9 times out of 10 when you're fighting Fiora, the answer is no, she's just beating my face in with damage. And you either want to find ways how to mitigate that damage, or find ways how to do enough damage that you just come out on top in turn of the stat stick. Now, Mert Treads aren't going to do that for you. Bramble Vest is going to be able to mitigate a little bit of her physical damage, but most of the time it's getting poked down by these true damage vitals, which, yeah, you can reduce the healing on that by like 20 health, but it's not really going to be getting too much value out of that. In the meantime, seeing a lot of value in this mid lane here as an ulti comes on through. Masuf going to be able to pick up Jaquavis, and no Bramble Vest on the planet's going to be able to save you from that damage.
Yeah, they just look way too late to that play, letting Jaquavis get basically 2v1 momentarily. And that was a free kill, kind of just baiting that one in there. They took the bait, and they're going to be picking up their first kill on the side of Dorado here. IE coming through on the bot side. It doesn't look like anything's going to happen, as you know, the Dragons split a piece, kind of similar to game number 1. Game's faster. CL are playing it faster this time around, but I'm not sure if this is going to be fast enough, as that is going to be a kill for first turret. And I have news for everyone in the chat. First turret is worth more than a kill.
Yeah, I mean, at the very least, that one's going to be worth it for them. Hyperfocus on the other hand, going to get hooked up by the dredge line. A trade of health from the bot lane here, and Dibble flashing away to safety. Does not have the ultimate available. OG Kush barely missing out on that route, on that slow there, so there's no captive audience available. But that was a huge amount of damage, a huge amount of trading just going off there in the meantime. But I gotta say, right, this is one of those moments where if you're a player in the game and you hit tab, you say, yeah, we're doing pretty well. We're in the lead. We've got so much more going for us here. And us as the observers, as the spectators, as the casters, obviously omniscient, you know, all-knowing, we say, yeah, Dorado have a gold lead despite being down these kills, right? It's from that one tower, but even before the tower went down, Dorado still had a little bit of a gold lead. So it's interesting to see where in the world everything really comes into play.
Okay, now peace.
And we got chat spotlights? Okay.
All right, we could put anyone on blast. If we see someone, see someone acting out, we can put you on blast now. On the stream, everyone can hear what you have to say. As Nuffy's here, he apparently just had to type something. I don't know if that's the case. Can't restrain yourself here, as this dragon 1 minute away. And if we're talking about who has the odds for this one, I think we're going to have to throw it over in Dorado's favor just for the moment here. They have some really good chain combos. They have the Maokai ultimate team fight champion coming through here. And if they pull the trigger fast enough, which they have been consistently throughout this series, they could pick up a nice kill onto someone like Hamza, who I don't know if they are aware that they are in danger right now.
Yeah, I mean, no flash, no cleanse on the Jinx. You got to be a little bit careful here, but we're seeing as Hamza's going to walk in closer and closer towards this tower, trying to make something happen. But right before dragon spawn, the wave into the tower should be more than enough to be content with, as Venom's now looking for an opportunity. The Rift Herald going to be dropped in the mid lane. And once again, a trade of objectives is going to be the play from Dorado.
Okay, they get the charge off. No contest. Straight going to be trade. Get gold for Dragon here. And this is a Chemtech, not the best Dragon, let's be honest. Not a lot of shield power being used. They do have healing and shield power on the team. It's just not really something that matters. If you have an Enchanter, now we're talking. As it looks like they're trying to defend this top side. Not going to get it. Venoms could start a fight. Misses the hook for now. Does stop the channel. No. And Hyper Focus was just caught slacking on their way out. And they're going to be picking up another kill. But still, no gold advantage. No gold lead. Nothing massive in this game just yet. No
Yeah,
defense on this
Eagle
mid
is
lane as, okay, K-Peps as well. What are we doing, Dorado?
Yeah, I mean, OG Kush gonna teleport back in, not even at full health, and gonna get dove under tower here. Venoms with the flash over as well. The shutdown going over to Hamza. And just like that, I think that we're finally gonna be having a gold lead from the side of Cosmos. Curtain call coming on through here. Hamza in a little bit of trouble, but there's the cancel from the splash all the way under tower. And somehow does not die. You know, maybe the Chemtech Dragon does come in clutch in these moments.
I do think, yeah, I think Zach would have died without Chemtech, crazily enough. Massive managing to TP
rare.
bot lane. Yeah, very rare. Bot lane TP there. And Dorado, I don't know. They're just lackadaisical, chilling, still on vacation. You're in the middle of a game, guys. Need to be bright and awake here. And they're just chilling in their own jungle, thinking that they're safe. CL says, nah, comes in there with some nice picks and game-winning, potentially catching some players from Dorado as I was at the edge of my seat for Masuf there.
Yeah, I mean, in the end, Fiora going to be able to deny any of that Zac all-in, any of that Zac CC with the riposte. Beautifully done from Masuf. And honestly, going to have to agree with you there, Hooked on Plays. Production is going crazy these days. Shout outs to Friend or Foe Esports. Shout outs to Chris Sunga as
Where is
well.
that picture? Is that Vegas? Where is and then like a pop-up comes up with Chris again and says yes. Chris Sunga looking nice there, like the fit.
As always.
Yeah. Nice celebration picture going on as we've hit a bit of a lull state in this game. 9-2. Gold pretty much even, we'll call it. 500 gold difference. Ain't nothing. 80 carries, deathless. Everyone else on the team has died on Dorado. Meanwhile, to Splash, probably the biggest waves they've made yet in this series, as well as Hamza. Great start on a Jinx, who we all seen before really power through and win a team fight.
I also got to give a note. Masuf's Fiora is easily the focal point of Dorado's team composition. And Masuf's Fiora is the one champion that has so much of a gold lead, but now there's so much focus onto Masuf, right? So much of it was Dorado trying to make sure that Masuf stays alive. And okay, here's the re-engage. Who cares about the analysis? A Splash stuck under tower. Definitely going to be going down here. Curtain call not even needed for that shutdown. But this tower surely will be going down for the side of Cosmos.
Why are they not defending it? Okay, well, they're going to let that one go. As also, they didn't give the kill over to Dibble. I'm pretty sure K-Pups was going to say, oh, sorry, I didn't know it would do that much damage. As they stole away the kill. Could have been, actually. I wasn't paying attention to that one. I'm pretty sure it looked like K-Pups just Maokai smashed the blobs.
It definitely was the Maokai smash.
As I mean, that was a nice shutdown that could have went over to AD carry, but we're gonna get that on to K-Peps here, who looks like they're building Warmogs. I've been doing this build myself. Honestly, it's a nice 1-2 power spike for Maokai. You're still kind of squishy, not really that tanky, but you can fix that on your third item here, as it looks like this dragon setup from Dorado is not going to hold.
Yeah, might not be the greatest here. You got a little bit of saplings, but not any wards here. I believe Hyperfocus might. I'm not 100% sure if Hyperfocus actually has any wards in their inventory right now. Might just have been caught on a bad back timing. But in the meantime, we're going to be seeing... Okay, there we go. So now that the dragon's coming up in 10 is when we're going to see all of that vision start to come into play here. But this might be a little too late, as without the curtain call, without the Fiora, I'm not sure if Dorado are really allowed to walk in to this jungle. Hamza,
well, they see Venoms. They see Venom, so they can basically walk in there. That's who they have to look out for, as well as the splash on the Zac. Looks like they're not going to challenge, and yeah, blindly walking into the river when there's a Zac on the enemy team is pretty sketchy. So I can understand their hesitancy there, but one more dragon and that's going to be Soul for the side of CL here. They're going to instead trade for Baron Vision. Dorado playing the macro game here, as it looks like they might actually get kicked out now that the dragon is gone. And this is when the game is going to start opening up for these Baron plays here. A lot of the turrets have fallen, except for one outer on the bot side for Dorado. And this is where we could potentially see a lot of 5v5 team fights occurring.
Yeah, I got to know, right? So I don't dislike giving up these dragons, right? Because you're not just giving them up for free, you're giving them up usually for objectives. The first time we saw it traded for that mid tower, this time it is for that Baron Vision. But Dorado don't exactly have these neutral objective DPS champions, right? It's not like you're running an Azir Vayne or something that can just absolutely shred through a Baron and actually threaten a Baron trade here. So it's going to get closer and closer to the point where Dorado have to pull the trigger. They can't just keep going for the scaling, right? Yes, Masuf is ahead of Jaquavis, but how much can you really rely on that Fiora scaling in the side lane if you're not at the very least able to hold down Cosmos in the 4v4?
Yeah, definitely don't even necessarily want to 4v4 at this moment. No guarantee that you win that one. Probably want to play this pick style, create pockets of vision, and then find opportunities where Hamza, Elsa is alone, and that's where you look for your opportunities there. You've caught TES Splash a little bit here. Venoms is another opportunity, but they might have found something right here. Oh, no trigger being pulled. Very disciplined on the side of Dorado. That could have been an unfortunate 4v4 for them. Venom's walking straight up again, but this time no punish.
Yeah, I mean, Dorado just seems a little bit scared to pull the trigger, but
They don't see Zach. That's the big issue. They don't
yeah,
see
you know
Zach.
what? It's fine. It makes sense. You don't have vision on the Zach. You got to play it safe. Don't want to do anything too crazy. But right now, a cleanse from Hamza being burned means that we might start to see something happen here. Meanwhile, in the bot lane, there's a big fight going on between Jaquavis and Masuf here. Just constantly trading, looking for that 1v1 prowess, and this tower is sure to go down soon.
I do not know how Masuf got the turret aggro there, but Masuf slowly whittling away at this turret and Jaquavis' health pool. TPs are up though, but if you manage to burn that from the side of Masuf, that's a opposite side of the map play that does get unlocked here. TP's coming in.
TP. All right, and Venom's gonna get rooted up here, and the Zac into the backline. Hyperfocus is locked up, and so is Dibble, but the frontliners are the only ones in trouble for the side of Dorado here. But now with the depth charge onto Dibble, all of a sudden the double root comes through. OG Kush just trying to fire off damage, but Hamza still free hitting on the backline. Curtain call gonna get immediately canceled.
Wait a minute, Hamza.
But the root from Kush means that Hamza is down. Venoms is way too far forward, and there's no follow-up here until TES Splash once again into the backline. As all of this happens in the 4v4, Masuf once again with the win in the 1v1 on the side lane, going to play exactly towards Dorado's win condition.
And the lone mace on the floor there. Masuf's going to have to run. Elsa is on the heels of Venoms here, and they're going to chase away this Fiora. But yeah, just solo pushing. I mean, practically it hasn't grouped a single time. And with this build, with the PTA, I think that you should not group. You're not going to win team fights anyway. No point in doing so. And big problem with Hamza pushing up, getting killed by OG Kush and Dibble at the end of a team fight that they've already won anti. I can't stress so much how that was a huge mistake.
Yeah, I mean, look at this fight, right? It's just constant double snares coming in from the side of OG Kush, and just constant delays from these backliners that might not have been able to put out as much damage as needed on the side of Dorado. But at the very least, from Cosmos, you have damage on damage on damage until Hamza just walks up a little bit too far forward. Jinx passive just playing directly to the player tendencies themselves there. But just getting as much possible going on.
Yeah, as looks like I cannot see what's going on here as we are now following into a fight. The Jinx bullets are coming through, and then this is actually the first team fight we've had like this. Masuf is here, and yet with the Fiora, it's making it very difficult to win these team fights. You don't have that traditional tank, don't get that front to back, and now the Soul comes through. Venoms has an opportunity. Hook onto Masuf here, and that one's going to go wide, but I would have preferred just straight give away the Dragon. Go for the Baron and go for the split push on Masuf.
Yeah, I mean, they're continually going for the chase here as Splash, Hamza, and Venoms are in
Hamza's
the pit.
caught?
Masuf goes straight on in, gets caught, riposte through Dibble, gonna be able to pick up Hamza, and that's so much of the Baron damage, but in the end, to Splash is barely gonna be able to stay alive, and look at all this Zac healing.
Yeah, 378, 378, 378 plus constant ticks of 57 here. Jaquavis is going to try to hold them at bay. Get this jungler out of here. And it looks like, I mean, I'm going to assume that CL have taken this Baron here.
Yeah, it's a little bit rough for the spectator side of things right now, but I will say, right, at the very least, Cosmos have put themselves in a strong winning position, right? There's so much of the time where you just do not have the gold lead despite being up so many kills, despite being up so many objectives, but it all works out in the end.
Yeah, and I mean, so far for this game, CL, solid performance in this one. Looking a lot better, and it looks like they are challenging Dorado 1-1 on this one, and I think a huge part of that is the teamfight composition. Dorado not opting for the same style as game number 1, and I feel like that is a huge mistake from them. They were trying to show off, and it's starting to bite them in the butt.
Yeah, I mean, look at this gold lead coming on through. There's so much standing gold here, and now with the current call coming on in, trying to make something happen, but look at this, just pebbles being thrown in and no real damage coming through from the Jhin. In the meantime, always a different story on the other side of the map. Fiora does not care whether or not the Mordekaiser has the Baron, does not care what the Mordekaiser's got in the inventory, only cares who Mordekaiser has as backup here, as now Elsa from Frozen comes on in to make sure Masuf doesn't get a chance to get on out, and finally the kill comes through for Jaquavis.
Yeah, I would maybe you can use the opportunity to find a nice engage onto Hamza, at least below a Jinx flash in a 4v3 scenario here. Now Elsa's here, able to join the rest of CL, and not much you can do in the way of defense. Baron's up to block the minions for most of the damage. Dibble at a half HP. Oh, Hamza going in for the kill right into the face of Hyper Focus. And as I said, there's not much peel for Jinx. I feel like that's another missed opportunity that they can go for here. Hamza getting massively shielded as the Lux damage does not have effect. And now they're just sitting ducks here for this Jace. Elsa can be able to just keep poking away at them. Not much damage going down to the minions, as we can see. And it looks like this base is going to be destroyed.
Yeah, and look at this. There's so much dive into that backline that we were missing in that game number 1 here. And Cosmos now in a good position, but Masuf on the backline, so much damage. Hold on, the shutdown coming through for the Fiora, the double kill as well, and Dorado are still alive and kicking, trying to make sure that this is very much still a winnable game. Like we said before, so much of this game was focused onto whether or not Masuf's Fiora could really get this push off, could really get the gold lead, could really get a ton of play here. But okay, there's no way.
How did Dorado not lose a single member? They're going for a TP here. They just need to kill Jaquavis. Has the ulti on the K-Paps here. And yeah, you do not win that one. Flashing over the wall. is not going to get out, but now this is freeing up the kill onto the Mord. A flash away, and it looks like they are not going to get anything. Hyperfocus turret shot on the way out, and the flank to Splash. It's actually a solo flank. I don't know if this is a good idea anymore, as Masuf is able to get in on that bottom inhib here to Splash. No one is around the Zac. This is a free Zac kill. They just didn't know where the rest of the team was, and they're going to back on out of here. Elder up in 1 minute. Hamza, no flash, no cleanse, and there's a lot of CC they're going to have to dodge on this next fight.
Yeah, and crucially, Masuf picks up that inhibitor in the bot lane. Still no inhibitors picked up for Cosmos, surprisingly enough here. And this Elder fight is where it all ends. This is such an important fight here. And if Masuf can get off one of those crazy flanks the same way that we saw the last time, then maybe we can see Dorado come out on top with a just full-on comeback. But this is Cosmos' game to lose. Right now, Venom's on the front line, looking for a hook, looking for a dredge line. Hyperfocus just standing in front, trying to make sure that there's no potential in onto the backline carries. Masuf gets the wave in, but this could be dangerous.
I would send Masuf just down mid lane. Don't even try to teamfight this. Send the Fiora down. It looks like Venom's is just all alone, and that's going to be a free kill already, starting this up. 4v5 here. They're picking that up. To Splash is not in this fight yet, and then they're gonna just pick up 2. That's Elsa from Frozen, and what is going on here? CL are just falling apart at the most
Masuf's
important
going for base.
Important moment here. Masuf has the split push. They're in a catch-22, and this is looking like the Elder will be going over to Dorado, and the inhib goes down. What a mess up. What a hiccup from the side of CL. This is an absolute disaster, going from about to win this game to now losing double inhibs plus the Elder Dragon anti. They just can't make it happen. They can't get over the hill.
Yeah. Producer, can we get some reset on the game feed? I will have to say, though, this has been absolutely incredible from the side of Dorado, as once again, right, we said that the one big win condition was going to be this Fiora, and man, this Fiora has paid off dividends.
Okay, it looks like they're going to go ahead and turn their attentions over to this Baron. Not exactly trying to end this game immediately, as they're going to bide their time here in Dorado, play it safe, and with a Baron take, with limited Elder time aside, they can play the map. Masuf just playing one lane. All the team plays the rest. K-Pep's looking for an engage. They have Elsa again. Long range coming down from the Lux here, as well as the Jhin. Elsa forced to expend some defensives there. Gonna get out with the phase rush. They're walking this top lane in. They have the Elder. The minions are dying to Hamza's wave clear. Just need OG Kush to land some damage. Masuf has the pressure. Probably wants to play in the bot lane here, but is kind of sticking around mid for a flank. Venoms is looking at Masuf like a potential kill on this Fiora could help them stave off defeat. Okay, Peps still holding on. No Inglesby created. To Splash is getting bot lane here. Is now rotating back up, and they're not sinking the waves. They're not sinking the waves here, Anti. This is making this take a lot more difficult.
Yeah, I mean, you got to get everything in at the same time with that Baron, with that Elder. But now, speaking of synced waves, we got all the waves coming on into this bot side, but...
And no top wave. That's the problem.
Here we go, right? You just need the wave to get in at around the same time, so that way these teams can't just clear them out on their lonesome. Masuf, on the other hand, still got everyone locked up. But here we go. Hamza, so much damage. And there goes the Jinx. Dorado have done it. A full-on comeback from the very brink here. And Elsa going to be going down. Jaquavis going to be going down. There's no chance in hell that you're going to be able to deal with this team, regardless of how many towers you've got here. And Dorado going to be able to take it on the Nexus. Try as Cosmos might, they cannot do it.
Despite the soul, despite the map pressure, despite getting one Baron, not able to piece it together at the end there, just at that last Elder, 5 people completely out of position, getting themselves caught. The team wasn't synced up. They're not playing together, opening up that opportunity. And yes, the clock that is Masuf did tick, and they were not able to stop this Fura at the end of the game. But they just had so much time and set up beforehand that, you know, Masuf really wasn't a factor until the huge mistakes came through, and they were able to capitalize on the strength of that topside matchup. Not to mention, at the end there, Hamza kind of just playing way too aggressive at moments, getting caught by things in the mid game, again slowing down their wins. And overall, it was a much better game, I have to say. At least that one was you were supposed to win, but still not enough, and still losing some key team fights to Dorado.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of that did come down to the 44 continually going to the side of Cosmos, but that side lane, once again, always going in the Fiora's favor, definitely spelled a little bit of trouble there. But that will be it for us this week. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Make sure to tune in the rest of the week to catch some more Titan esports.
I don't know what you want. Let's have a bit of fun till I downfall. My love, if you feel like I do right now, don't say you're on the run to the other side, my love. You say you wanna try, but you never do. Sugar, there's a reason why we lose. You say you wanna cry, but you never do. Sugar, there's a reason why we lose. I don't know what you want. Let's have a bit of fun till I downfall. My love, if you feel like I do right now, don't say you're on the run to the other side, my love. You say you wanna try, but you never do.